Hey everybody, welcome to another tutorial, and today I'm demonstrating right here of accessing and hosting a TrueNAS server, and you can do it with sort of any type of server. You can host it from your own place, from your own house. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm actually hosting this, even though I'm at home, I'm actually hosting this from home. At the moment, I've actually got mobile data switched on and Wi-Fi turned off for this demonstration, because in order to access this over the internet, if I try to use Wi-Fi, it plays up for some reason when I'm trying to access it over the internet using my public IP address. So yeah, so I've turned the mobile data on and left Wi-Fi off, but just to confirm that Wi-Fi is off. Sorry, turn off Wi-Fi.
One moment.
Wi-Fi should be Wi-Fi should.
Working on that. Wi-Fi is already turned off.
Yeah, I was gonna say Wi-Fi is already off. So mobile Wi-Fi is off, mobile data's on, and we are accessing the server using my public IP address. So let's have a look at the setup. Actually, the physical setup, and also the virtual setup, and I'll show you what I've done. So I've done a tutorial of this computer in the past, but we're not looking at this all-in-one PC. This is running a Proxmox virtual environment, this all-in-one PC, but we're going to look at a server I just recently done a couple of days ago, which is this baby here. So this is a Proxmox virtual environment server, but I am hosting a TrueNAS virtual server within this Proxmox virtual environment. So there's a couple of reasons why I did it like this. The first main reason is because if the server ever goes down, that doesn't mean that the whole thing goes down. I can fix it using the Proxmox virtualization page. So technically this is a Proxmox VE, but when you create a virtual machine within Proxmox, once it's all created and it's connected to the network, it comes across as a independent device on your local area network. So yeah, so and another reason to make this, and another thing you got to do is you got to ring up your internet provider and allow them to put your device in the DMZ. So I've actually got one device in the DMZ, which is this virtual server. So TrueNAS actually comes up as a independent computer, even though TrueNAS is running off a virtual environment. So as far as the network is concerned, TrueNAS is actually physically plugged into the computer or into the network itself, and it gets its own IP address. As far as the network's concerned, even though it's a virtualized. Another reason why I do this too is because I can virtualize RAID configurations. At the moment, I've got my RAID on this TrueNAS server is striped because we're only using a single hard drive. It's the one that's actually hosting the hypervisor, plus the TrueNAS server itself and the virtual hard drives for the data set, for the data storage in the TrueNAS server itself. So everything is virtualized on one hard drive. So that's the beauty of virtualization, is rather than having the physical hardware, like if I didn't have the physical hardware, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I virtualize everything. And yeah, so that is how it's possible. And since I asked my internet provider to put that device in the DMZ, or the TrueNAS server itself in the DMZ, that is how we can do what we do. So let me unlock the iPhone. So as I said, on the top here, it's actually got my public IP address, which I won't be sharing, because that will determine my location and where I am, which I'm not keen to give out to just anybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into the server. So let me log into the server. Okay, get rid of that. Hang on. Just trying to get rid of that. So now we'll log into the server as root. Then we'll enter the password that was defined by the installation when I was doing it in the installation of TrueNAS in the virtual environment. I just got to enter the predefined password I had set. We're going to log in. Just logging into the server, and voila, we are at the dashboard. So this is the dashboard of my server from remotely, and this is, as I said, it's from a remote location. So now, since we are up and running, I can actually manipulate the server. I can actually manipulate the server itself. So if we go to the app drawer here, we can actually go into the different settings. See, it's like I'm accessing the server locally, but this is actually truly over the internet. So we can go storage, we can go to pools. See, we can configure the pools. See, and this is all done through the internet too. And since I'm using an HTTPS connection to my server, I can use a HTTP, but that means that the connection won't be encrypted. So if you're going to do a TrueNAS server like this, it's always better to connect through the internet via HTTPS, just for extra layer of security. So yeah. This is pretty much, you can do it with any server as long as it's got a web GUI. It doesn't necessarily have to have a web GUI, as long as you know what you're doing with servers and you can access it. And as long as your internet provider, some internet providers allow for more than one device in the DMZ, but my particular internet provider only allows for one only. So the reason why I'm also hosting this is because one of my brothers wants my music and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to host a NAS server, virtual NAS server, where I can just put this information and he can access it over the internet by giving my public IP address, https:// my public IP address, and he can access it if I give him a username and password. So that solves my problem of sharing files over the internet when they can have access. And since it's a very power efficient server, it can stay running 24/7 without much power loss or power usage. So hopefully you learned something new. That is how you host a web server from home, or in this case a TrueNAS server. I can probably do it with the Proxmox virtual environment as well. I can probably host that server over the internet and also access my virtual machines and all that over the internet. But for what I want to do, I don't want to do that. I just want to host a NAS server where it's file storage. You can actually run virtual machines through this, through the software too. So I can actually run a virtual machine through TrueNAS, but since I have a limited RAM space and hardware, it's not ideal. If I had a pretty powerful NAS server or with good cores and good memory in it, I probably could run virtual machines as well as a NAS server. But for this case, I'm only using it for file storage, and for that much, you don't need much processing power. So hopefully you learned something new today. I was just demonstrating how to host a website or host a server from your house using your public IP address, and the methods to do, and some of the hardware I did. So hopefully you learned something new. And it gives you an idea of what you want to do for your home office and your home labs and also your home servers. So have a good day, everybody, and until next time, cheer cheer.